What's up, boys? It's Mr. Doc yet again, coming at you with a brand new track. Just came out. This is a 2015 Ernie. I think it's pronounced Ernie by or something like that. I don't know. You'll see. I'll throw it up on the screen. By Jesse Mullock. And man, this track is pretty sweet, man. Like I'm not gonna lie. When I first started playing it, I was on a 450. And I was having an absolute struggle bus of a time. I still am, but absolute struggle bus. As you can see, this track is very steep. Like it is all on these super steep hills. Like this, like to me, like some of these are steeper than, you know, Glen Helen and some of these. And it's pretty rough. And if you don't get a good flow, or if you get a little buck over one of these like banners right here, man, like this track is so punishing. It's gonna like totally ruin your lap. I'll show you. There's one specific corner I will show you that is absolutely just like, you have to get it right, otherwise it's gonna ruin everything about your life. It seems to be like 1-to-1 scale. It's this cool little downhill here. I think you obviously can triple down that, and I'm just doubling because I'm a spode. But I'm going really slow because I'm just trying to show you guys the track here a little bit. But it's really good. The 1-to-1 scaling is cool. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like the 1-to-1 scaling, but the more oh yeah, that corner right there, boys. If you overshoot that corner, look how far. Look how far. This is gonna be a tough one in the online lobbies. You're gonna get punted by Susie and Billy and Bobby. It's just gonna be chalked. But it's a pretty short lap time, like a minute 40, minute 30. Look at that corner entry, bro. Ryder would be so proud of me. It's crazy. All that work Ryder and I have been putting in, obviously coming to fruition right there in that one corner. This track's it's pretty fun, man. Like if you get on it and you don't like it, like I would encourage you, like play it a little bit. Find yourself a little flow. It's very, to me, it felt like kind of an acquired taste. Like at first I was like, gosh, like this is kind of tough, you know? Like the track's built a little different than some of your other tracks you might be used to. It's narrow, it's steep, but I'll tell you, man, I stuck with it, and I started I started putting laps in and trying to find some lines, and man, once you get it, it's very flowy. Like I think this track's gonna be, oh, that's an interesting little line there, Doc. We're just making our own lines at this point. This track's gonna be challenging to do in online lobbies, because I mean, like, because it's so punishing. Like these hills, man, if you overshoot one, like I'll try to go to this inside on this hill up here, and you'll see that, like, if you make a mistake, yeah, not this. But I think a fast lap time's probably gonna be like low 130s, to be honest. All right, yeah, here, watch this. I'm gonna try to jump to the inside here. Oh, watch. When you try to slow down. Oh, and then if you miss that, look, and then look. Oh my, can you imagine this in a pub lobby? Look, and then you got to get back up there. It's just chalked. It's just chalked. Or we're playing, it's like we're playing, what's it called? It's like we're playing Krakenberg right now. Look at that. I was running like low 40s with some mistakes, so I definitely think a 30 is possible. Like a low 30 is possible, or mid 30. But that's going to be like absolutely barking times. I like the corners. It's definitely a different style of rut than we're used to. If you could see back in that corner, it's like they're more like dug into the ground than berms, if that makes sense. Like it's like he's actually making ruts instead of just like a bunch. Oh, you see how like the ruts are like dug into the ground, not just berms? You know what I mean? You guys, I think I'm going the wrong way. Oh, I am going the wrong way. I don't know if you guys can hear the raspiness in my voice, but Doc is still pretty sick. Still not feeling the best, but I wanted to make something on this video, or on this track, for you, because I thought it was pretty fun. I think you guys will like it. It's definitely challenging. Like I think this track will help you guys be a little bit more like precise with your braking and maybe your acceleration, because like you have to be really spot on, because if you make a mistake, it's like it's over. You can kind of double down this and go to the outside here, and then the outside turns into the inside, but that kind of knifes you. I noticed if you like stand in that corner, it can kind of help you out a little bit. But just kind of some raw, nothing fancy. You're seeing Doc in all of his glory here with all my crashes. That's okay. One thing I really struggle with in this game is being able to get on a track and go fast quickly. Like that's why I kind of, to be honest, that's why I like kind of avoided doing these you know, these track reviews or just track videos where I kind of give you initial thoughts is because I take a really long time to get warmed up on tracks. And I don't know, just kind of difficult for me to just get on and throw burners down without making mistakes. That outside is really fun if you don't tuck. And like, I don't know, I don't really want to just show you guys this like me crashing 24/7 because that can't be enjoyable to watch. Oh, you know what we're doing today? We're doing story time. We're gonna do story time because I want to do story time, and I feel like that would be a fun way for me to get to know you guys get to know me a little bit. So we're gonna do a little bit of story time. We're gonna do today, my story is my wife and I used to live, and my son at the time before we had my daughter, we used to live in California, and for a really long time we decided that we wanted to, like, ever since we got together, we decided we wanted to move out of California because California is kind of buns. If anyone lives in California, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's expensive. It's just kind of chalked all around, to be honest. So a really long time we wanted to move out of California. My brother-in-law ended up passing away, who is how I got the name REAPERDOC. Maybe I can tell you guys how I got named REAPERDOC in the next video. My brother-in-law passed away, and so we decided we'd stay in California for a while so that my sister, it was her husband that passed, so my sister could kind of get back on her feet. And so after a few years, we still wanted to move, but we decided to stay. And then after my sister got back on her feet, we decided, all right, well, maybe it was time to move. I had always wanted to be in the military or law enforcement. I joined the military when I was like 17, or not like 17, when I was 17. And my parents had to sign for me and everything, but I actually ended up breaking my arm 4 days before I was going to go to basic training. That's also a good story. And I ended up not being able to go to the Army. So I always wanted to do something in law enforcement. And so we started looking into, like, maybe I was going to do border patrol in Mexico or in Texas, or, you know, like, I don't know. I was going to look into that, and it ended up not really working out. So we just kind of started looking around, and, you know, we had just had my son, and I remember, like, I was not in a really good place with God. Like, at the time, like, my walk with Jesus was just, like, horrible at the time. I wanted nothing to do with it. Like, literally, I wanted like nothing to do with him. I didn't go to church, and I was in this spot where we were talking about moving out of state, and we had just had my son, and my friends and family were there. I was supposed to, like, my best friend's wife was pregnant, and we were gonna, like, raise kids together. You know, my parents are all there, my sister was there, and so my wife and I were really struggling with, like, should we actually leave, man? Should we take the grandbaby? Should we take our kids? Do we just remove ourselves from our family and just kind of take off? And I remember one day in church, man, my wife drugged me to church. Again, like, I didn't want to go to church at the time. I wanted nothing to do with it. My wife drugged me to church, and I was sitting there, and I decided to pray for the first time in like a couple years. And I was like, all right, God, like, if you're still there and you still, like, care about me, like, I need to know, are we supposed to move? You know, like, if we're supposed to move, like, hey, back down the hill. If we're supposed to move, I would like a sign, you know, or something. And I'm telling you, boys, the first thing, man, I was praying in the middle of church. The first thing that came out of that pastor's mouth when I said amen was, sometimes you need to follow God, even if that means moving your family across the country. And I remember I immediately just, like, broke into tears and was like, oh my, wow, I guess God is still there. God still cares. Anyway, so, like, we decided, I told my wife that, like, wow, I guess we're going to, you know, pursue moving. And so we decided, all right, well, we're going to start moving now. And we didn't really know where we wanted to move, or we didn't really have any idea. So my wife and I literally made, like, an Excel sheet, boys, of all the states and, like, pros and cons of all 50 states. And we started crossing states off. You know, like, we started crossing obvious ones off. Like, we're obviously, you know, we're not moving to Alaska, we're not moving to Hawaii. Started crossing all these states off, and then basically after a while we ended up on 3 states. One was Pennsylvania, one was Michigan, and one was Iowa. And we were like, man, Pennsylvania's cold, but it's not Michigan cold. So we crossed off Michigan. And then I was reading a news article, and it said there are more pigs in Iowa than there are people. And I was like, all right, well, I guess we're moving to Pennsylvania. Hey! Yeah, Oh yeah, back to the punishing, boys. And so we decided we would move to Pennsylvania. So then we like had to figure out like where. Like not, my wife or I had pretty much never been to PA. So I decided I would just kind of blanket apply to jobs across the state, and whatever, like, you know, whatever job that I got, I would just move to that area. And I ended up getting a job in the city, and basically like trying to make this like somewhat short. It took them about 3 months for them to decide if they wanted me. And in that time, my house in California sold, because we had just bought a house in California. And so basically like we were like low-key homeless for like 3 months. And because of like the work setup I had in Cali, I ended up staying in an Airbnb with this Filipino family I had never met for 3 months, while my wife and kid ended up living with my parents. And I would go see them on the weekends because my job was really far away from my parents. And I like literally lived in a 1-bedroom house with, it didn't even have a bathroom in the bedroom, in this like random Filipino family's house in Sacramento. And I lived there for like 3 months, dude. All I did during that 3 months was I worked during the week. I would go to the gym for like 2 or 3 hours a day with my friends. Bro. Yeah, I would go to the gym with my friends for like 2 or 3 hours a day, and then I would go home and I would game. That's literally all I would do during the week. I would work, gym, and game. Kind of pretty much like all I do now anyway. And then we finally got word that that company actually wanted me to move out, and they were like, yeah, we're really interested in you, but like to finalize things, we need to do an interview with you. And I was like, yeah, totally, that's cool, man, like no problem at all. And then so I was like, yeah, I could take a day off and we could do a phone interview, or, you know, again, I'm on the literally other side of the country. We could do a phone interview or whatever you'd like, you know? I'm thinking they're going to say, oh yeah, let's set up a nice phone interview, or, you know, a Skype call, or, you know, let's do a little FaceTime or something, you know? No. They were like, yeah, you know, we'd really love to hire you, but we need to do an interview, and we needed to do it in person, and it's got to be this week. And dude, guys, it was like a Tuesday, and I was like, okay. So I took Friday off. I set the interview up for Friday. I flew a red eye all the way to Pennsylvania, and I landed at like 10 a.m. I literally had my interview at like 1 p.m. My interview was like 4 hours, guys. And then, so it was like 1 to 5. And then at like 6 p.m., I looked at a couple houses, you know, to maybe buy. Oh, at the interview, I forgot. Yeah, at the interview, I do this 4-hour interview. Everything's going great, you know? You know what the guy says? He goes, all right, sir, we'll call you Tuesday. And I was like, wait, no. Like, I'm the guy from, I just flew across the country. And he's like, yeah, we need to pray about it. And I was like, oh, all right, well, actually, that's kind of cool. Like, I'm down for that, you know? Anyway, so I look at a couple houses that day, and I end up getting on a plane that night, guys. I literally flew in Thursday night, landed Friday, and I was back on a plane literally Friday night. And I obviously ended up getting the job, and it was awesome. And anyway, so I got this job. We set things up to move. Like, I was gonna move, you know, like in 60 days or something, so I could give my current job in California like a big notice, because I had a pretty high up position there, so I wanted to be, you know, kind and not just pull the rug out from underneath them. I gave like a 60-day notice, and dude, guys, I ended up buying a house on my phone, which was wild. A house that my wife had never seen. That luckily it was a house that I did look at when I was here for the interview. But I remember signing all the papers. Listen, I'm not encouraging texting and driving, but I remember signing the papers for this house while I was on the highway, not looking at all the guys. This is not good legal advice, Kate. Don't listen to me. Talk just a goober. But I remember just holding my phone in my right hand, signing all the papers on my phone for this house that we bought. We ended up getting this house. We love this house. Yeah, and then we ended up moving like 60 days later. My dad and I drove out here, which was wild. We drove from California to Ohio in one shot, only stopping for gas. And like we'd get food at the gas stations, or like at a, you know, whatever, like a Jack in the Box or something, or like in the area. But we didn't stop and sleep or restaurants or anything. From Cali to Ohio in one shot, man. That was wild. And then my wife ended up flying out like a week later. It was crazy. It was crazy, and we've been here for like 3 years or so. We've been here in Cali, or in Pennsylvania. Absolutely wild. Like, we basically ended up just throwing a dart at a map. That's how we, like, we didn't have any friends here, no family, guys. Like, it was such a, like, gonna trust God moment, and just kind of sent it. And I gotta say, like, moving to Pennsylvania, probably one of the best decisions my wife and I have ever made. We absolutely love it here. Obviously we miss family, especially as time goes on. Like, the more we're away, we miss family, and it does get hard, but we absolutely love it here. And while I'm on the topic of missing family, I know that we're going into the holidays, and things can be really challenging for a lot of you guys. So I wanted to let you know, if you guys need anything through these holidays, if you need to talk to someone, I know holidays can be a really challenging time. If you need anything, please let me know, man. I would love to talk with you or help you, whatever you need, okay? Don't feel free to reach out on Discord or Twitter, all right? Anyway, that's all for me, boys. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.